Hello, and welcome to News Dads. I'm your host, Zach Cashman. Let's get into this. You're probably wondering why I'm on your device. Well, like you, most likely, you're probably a father. Just like me, I became a dad within the last 2 months, and it has been a very hectic and crazy ride. I'm also on your screen because you might be looking for some help or some guidance per se. I kind of have been scouring through social media and haven't really seen anything to help dads through a process of being a parent. You see stuff for moms and whatnot, but I haven't really found a page dedicated strictly just to dads that kind of explained, well, I don't know, diapers, formula, how to sanitize things, ways to not get poop all over your hands, stuff like that. I didn't see anything like that. So that's where I come in, the guy that doesn't mind getting his hands dirty. What I really want to do is help navigate dads through this thing we call parenthood, because I feel like us as dads, we're not really told or explained how to do this. We're just told, hey, go to work, provide, come home, sleep, repeat. That's not really how it should be. I will show the topics so that you can kind of see what it is I'm going to be talking about throughout this video, so you kind of have an idea of what's going on, because who knows, it might be a lengthy video and it might be a little easier if you had something telling you exactly what I was talking about. So the first few topics that I kind of want to quickly touch on, just so you guys have an idea what this page is going to be about. We'll start with baby bottles. How to clean them, how to sanitize them, because it's not like cleaning any regular dish that you've cleaned before. You actually kind of have to go a little more in depth. You can't just wash them and toss them to the side and let them dry. Babies need things to be super sanitized. They need it because their immune systems are not built like ours yet. They're still growing. We'll talk about how to burp your baby and the multiple ways that you can do it, because if your baby's like mine, they don't like burping that well. Burping is always a struggle and a very long process to get it done. We'll also be talking about how to feed your baby, how to properly hold your baby while feeding, and the different ways that you can do that can help them in their process of learning how to eat properly, whether it be laying down or sitting up in your arm. And the really fun one, we'll be talking about how to change diapers and keeping these little mitts super crisp and clean and not getting any poop on them, because I'm sure it's gonna happen. Just like my daughter is a serial pooper, so she might not poop for 2 days, and then all of a sudden she has this massive blowout. And I'm talking, you try to reach in there to see what's going on and your finger slips too far in and you come out and your finger's brown. It happens to the best of us all the time. So whether you're a new dad or you're a seasoned dad, you're gonna get poop on your hands, you're probably gonna get peed on. But I have some tips and tricks that might help ease that along so that's not an every time thing. We'll also be discussing easy ways to clean your baby, whether it's in the sink or in the tub. The tubs are usually a little easier because you can sit in there with them. Sink kind of hurts your back depending on how short or tall you are. We'll also discuss some of car seat installing. We're also going to be discussing harder topics that us dudes don't really talk about. Postpartum depression for your wives, and then paternal postpartum depression, which is for us, because just like they can get depression after giving birth, we can also get depression. I know us as guys, we don't like to sit back and think that we can have that, but the fact of the matter is, you can. People get sad. This is a big life change. This is something that getting a new job, buying a new car, doesn't even come close to what you're dealing with. You're bringing a new life into the world, and that is a huge stress on you. It is also a very wonderful thing. It's not all just stress. There are a lot of emotions, but we'll get into that later as well. But for the most part, I would like to kind of touch on how to see signs of postpartum depression and paternal postpartum depression, how to get away from it, not in the sense of like you can just push it to the side and it's gone, but in a way that you can kind of maneuver around it or work through it. Because I had it the first 3 days that I brought our daughter home. I constantly cried for no reason. I'd pick her up, I'd feed her, I'd bawl, I'd put her down, I'd cry. I would literally go in the living room because I didn't want my wife to see me crying. Not that it's a bad thing, but I'm still getting to that point in my life where I'm understanding that it is okay to cry in front of her. She is my person. Your wife is your person. We do have to be strong, but you can only be so strong to a point. So we'll be talking about in other videos ways to cope with baby blues, postpartum depression, and try to work through it. We're a community. One of the biggest reasons why I decided to come up with this page is because I wanted to help other dads and myself be the best dads that we can be, because we owe it to our kids to be the best that we can be for them. And I feel like the easiest way for us to do that as guys is to actually kind of get together, actually learn from one another, and start to get better at being a parent than we were before, because you're gonna mess up. You're going to make mistakes, but that's all part of being a parent because you learn from these mistakes. Your kids learn from these mistakes. And I just think it's one of those things that if we come together as kind of like a little community, help each other out, dad to dad, we can actually make some pretty crazy things happen. There's a lot of stress that goes on in childbirth. The day that they come into the world is probably one of the most stressful days you'll ever have, but it's also one of the most wonderful days you'll ever have. We're also going to be talking about new gear and new things that are coming out for babies, whether it be pack and plays, car seats, different outlets that are out that you can use, new toys, and then the fancy cribs and bassinets, because who doesn't like something fancy every once in a while, right? We'll also be talking about the pricing and how much it's actually worth to buy these products, depending on what your price ranges really are. Because I know, like me, I'm middle class, if that, and some of the things that I've seen haven't really been worth the price that you have to pay for. Another thing we'll be touching on is different types of strollers, because there is a lot of different types of strollers. We'll also be discussing how to balance a personal life while you have a child, because the first couple months you're gonna be kind of recluse to your house, maybe going to the grocery store, maybe the park if you're lucky, but for the most part you're going to be home with your family. You're not going to be really trying to text or call friends or family. They might hit you up every once in a while, but they also know you're busy. They're not trying to invade your space. But one of the things I'd like to talk about when we get to that video is basically you kind of have to reach out. You know, you have to fill your social battery one way or another, and a way you can do that is having your friends and family come over to your house, having them come to the park with you, little stuff like that, but we'll touch more on that. And a really big thing that I want to touch on, as well as the postpartum depression, will be about how to keep your relationship with your significant other away from being a parallel living state. All of your oxytocin and all of your focus is going to be on your baby, the little human that you brought home. That's all you're going to be focusing on, you and your significant other. So you're going to start getting those moments where you're not paying attention to each other because you're both focused on one thing. So there's ways around that, and there's ways to keep your relationship together and spicy, but together. And eventually I would like to touch on those videos too. A little quick tidbit on keeping a relationship out of a parallel state is communication, and always remembering you guys are a team. You guys created this amazing child together, and you guys have to raise it together. So be a team. You have to see each other's faults and help each other when need be. We'll also be talking about the stress for the day of your child's birth for you and the mom. There's a lot of stress for both sides. And I feel like if I had a video back then that kind of gave me a clue of what I was walking into, that would help. And I'm hoping that these videos will do the same for you guys. I feel like it's necessary for us to get to know each other. Otherwise, I'm just some random dude that you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, telling you guys stuff that I've experienced. So I feel like it's a little bit more of a better introduction. My name is Zach. I'm 28 years old, and I have a 1-month-old. We found out that we were pregnant in December. We were super excited. We waited to tell people until about 12 weeks because previously we had been pregnant before, and it ended up in a miscarriage. So we have our little rainbow baby upstairs, and it has been amazing. But she was also in the NICU for over a month, and we were going up and down to see her constantly every day. My wife actually tore her stitches for her C-section because we were actually going to the hospital so much to keep track of our baby because she's a little girl. We wanted to be with her throughout everything. So that's a little bit about me. I hope you kind of feel like we know each other a little bit. Maybe we'll go get a beer sometime. There is so much more to come. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you for watching. I'm your host, Zach Cashman, and I'll see you next time.